waiting for the Tea Party Express to arrive at the Berea Fairgrounds. I'm here with Matt Miller, running for the 16th Congressional District seat. Hi, Matt.
How are you today?
I am well. Thank you so much for doing this interview with us.
Well, we're glad to be with you, and it certainly is a great day, and it's great to see all the people coming out here on a Sunday afternoon.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful day. We've got a nice crowd gathering, and big events to happen here at 3 p.m.
Absolutely, but there's some great speeches going on already with all of these warm-up acts, and I think people are getting excited, and they're excited. Let me tell you, when you get out and among your fellow citizens and you see that you're not the only one thinking that the government's overstepped their bounds, that they're misspending our money, when you see that there's a widespread group of Americans who feel the same way, it's hard not to be excited, because it shows you that the future of this country can be very bright if we all unite and take action together.
Matt, I love the passion in your eyes. I tell you what, I can tell that you're excited about this whole thing. It says that you're conservative on your flyer. We've got some good information here on you. Let's let the people know a little bit about you and where you're coming from.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am actually from Ashland County, the 16th District's Ashland, Wayne, Medina, and Stark. And I actually ran 2 years ago in the Republican primary, and at that time won Ashland 2-1, Wayne 2-1, Medina 3-1, but came up a few votes shy of a victory in Stark. And so certainly the tone in America has changed today, as well as in our district, and so we're confident we can pick up a few more votes this time around. But my background, I was a county commissioner in Ashland County for 2 terms, and now I'm the business administrator for a Salvation Army Community Center.
Wow, what a change.
It is. I'll tell you what, you know, I have to confess, I never thought I would be at the Salvation Army, but now that I'm there, I think it makes sense, because let me tell you, there's a big difference between sitting at a desk in an elected official's office passing a piece of legislation that's designed to help those in need versus now standing in the lobby face to face with the families and individuals who have the needs. And
well, then tell me, Matt, what are the needs that you're seeing now that you're working with the Salvation Army? How does that connect come for you and the people that you're going to be represented should you be elected?
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, jobs are obviously a major issue here in this district, all across the state and America today. In fact, any poll you take a look at, that is the #1 concern. Being at the Salvation Army, over and over again, you see men and women, families coming in that never dreamt they'd be in a position where they needed help to make the mortgage or rent payment, where they actually needed help to get the groceries that they needed to feed their families. These are people who a short while ago were actually making donations to United Way, making donations to the Salvation Army. Now they're standing in the lobby asking for help. When you see that, you quickly begin to see that we have to move the government out of people's lives, out of the businesses' lives, because the fact of the matter is, it's all of this obscene government spending that's taken place, all of these high levels of taxation that are basically driving these jobs away so that men and women can no longer take care of themselves.
But Matt, some people would argue and say that the government, the people that are hurting, need a program, that they need some sort of help. Carry me through, help me get through this time. What's the right balance? What's the right thing to do here?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think the Constitution lays out pretty clearly what the role of the government is to be in our civic affairs as well as our personal affairs, and there's no doubt that these men and women could use an extra hand. In fact, you take something like the recent health care legislation that passed. Without question, it is a situation and it is a piece of legislation that will ultimately harm this nation in ways that we've yet to see.
We've seen that.
Absolutely. Yeah. We don't have the money to pay for it. But the truth is, we know we need health care reform. And one of the ways that the government might be able to assist some of these men and women is by helping them get the insurance they need between the time they lose their job and they find their next job. Does that require that we create a huge new entitlement program for millions of people across the country? No. It would simply mean modifying some of those that are in place, whether it be Medicare or Medicaid, just to help individuals get back up on their feet again. And one could also argue, of course, that that isn't the role of government. But the reality is, we've created a situation here, and maybe I shouldn't say we, because you and I may not have necessarily been a part of it, but we've created a situation where the system has created so much dependence. Americans are so dependent on the system that we've got to wean ourselves off, and we can't do that in an instant. We've got to do it gently.
So what can your campaign do if you get elected? I mean, you've said that you first step one, we've got to get elected.
Yes.
All right. How do we do that? And once we've achieved that, forget the how. Once we've achieved that, Matt, what is it that we can do in that position as a congressman representing this district, what is it that you feel that you can do?
I'll tell you what, when it comes to job creation, which is on the forefront of everyone's minds, the bottom line is we've got to get the government spending under control. Someone may say, well, what does that have to do with creating jobs? When I'm out and about in these communities, touring companies and touring small businesses, over and over again, corporate managers tell me this. They say, Matt, we'll weather the storm, we've made adapted to the circumstances, and we'll get through this. But usually, it's almost inevitable. The next word out of their mouth is, but you know, we could hire 4 or 5 more guys right now. We've got the work for them, but we're not about to with the situation that's going on in Washington. No one has to be an economist to see that the government can't spend all of this money and not have to come to us as the business owners to pay more taxes to cover the costs of all these great ideas. And we're not going to play with someone's life, hire them today, and 6 months from now have to tell them and their families we can't help them anymore. And so I think the first thing we've got to do is address that government spending. Of course, the next thing, energy costs. And this is where cap and trade comes into play. The reality is, at a time when in Northeast Ohio, we already know that our energy and utility rates are higher than surrounding areas, and that that's a major factor in driving our jobs elsewhere, why would we even contemplate or even consider a new basic tax policy, even if it's offered to us in the name of being green and addressing global warming? Cap and trade amounts to a new fee, a new tax on not just our businesses, but us as individuals. So we've got to get those energy costs under control. And then I would say the final area that we've got to take a look at, of course, is we've got to look at some of our trade policies, because the reality is I support free trade, but the truth is, in many instances, our trade policies seem to be creating incentives for companies to do business elsewhere rather than incentives to help them be successful right here within our own shores.
Sure. We've got a very short time until the primary, coming up very, very quickly. Are there others in this race? I don't know your district. I'm from a different district. Are there others? Number one is, are there others in the race?
There are.
Okay. And, you know, once we get through this primary election, you know, what's your network of things? How have you designed to win this? Because there are incumbents then to beat. Not only primary, but then there are incumbents. So you got a network of things, and with our viewers here today, share with them your website and how to get in contact with you if they would so like to do. We'd love to give you that opportunity.
Well, we'd love to have people visit our website, because it seems as though when people do take a look at the candidates at this race, we tend to rise to the top of their list. Our website address is www.mattmillerforcongress.com. If anyone wants to email me a question, my address is on there, matt@mattmillerforcongress.com. I will read it. And of course, we're also on Facebook, and you can pick up the link there at our website. But I'll tell you, right now we're just focusing all our efforts on getting out and meeting as many people as we can. We may not have the most money in our race, but we'll definitely have enough money to get our message out. And in the past, we've proven that the way we get votes is by seeing people face to face and letting them know who we are. And,
well, Matt, we've got people out there today. I know you've got more to go visit. We want to thank you so much for coming out to meet with us today, and thanks for doing this interview. We're going to wrap it up with the Ohio Free Press. We'll see you on the flip side.